good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sharon Rogers and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine. Normally I come to you live each Friday night at 7:30 and usually on YouTube now, but I do link to Facebook and you can always find this video on my blog at stamperhood.com. However, although I'm usually live, tonight I had a work conflict. I usually do not work on Friday evenings. However, we have a special event tonight. And as I am preparing for this a day in advance, I'm shooting this on Thursday, I came up with a super cute treat idea to give everyone at the meeting. And that is this right here. I don't know if you've ever tried candy corn and peanuts, but it is fantastic. It sort of tastes like a payday. It has that nougaty kind of feel to it when you bite into it because of the candy corn, but it just, I'm a candy corn fan anyway, but I will never eat candy corn without peanuts again, I don't think. It's yummy. If you haven't tried it, as long as you don't have a peanut allergy, you should try it. Let's see how we can make this cute little treat container. I love this Nuts About Squirrels stamp set. These guys are just the cutest. It makes me go back to my days at the University of New Hampshire, where I got my math teaching degree. I don't know if you knew that I was a math teacher. Currently, I'm not using that, but I was a teacher for 25 years at both the high school and college level. And then I went to work for a church where I currently am. But at the University of New Hampshire, squirrels were running and frolicking all over the campus, and they were so fun to watch. So whenever I see these squirrels, I think about that time. Let's go ahead and stamp my acorn squirrel in Early Espresso. I'm going to color him in with crumb cake using the other stamp that coordinates with this. I'm gonna have to get my head in the way, I think, though. It's so hard fighting the camera. Oh, good. All right. As long as you can get your head over it, you can definitely see where to stamp because these are photopolymer. You see right through them. Makes lining up very easy. All right, so now I want to color in my acorn. So I have two pieces of that. I need the acorn cap, which is right here, and I'm going to do that in Early Espresso. Again, I got to get right over it. I'm trying not to get too far over it so that my head is in the way. And so I'm done with my Early Espresso. And I'm going to use Cajun Craze because that is the color of my lawn at the moment as it sits covered with acorns. And in this little stamp, I'll show you on here, you can see there's this little hand and the little point. It makes it easier to line up. Let's go ahead and see if I can do that. All right, that's pretty good. All right. So now all we have to do is cut him out. Let's speed things up so that you don't have to watch me do this in real time. Okay, that took me less than a minute in real time to do, so not bad. I am going to bring in a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock, and this measures 5 inches by 4 1/4, and I want to score it in half this way at 2 1/2. Light blade, remember? And then I can fold that. And I could burnish it with a bone folder if I knew where my bone folder was. So I had an event last weekend and I did not unpack everything yet. So that's going to be how it is. I'm going to bring in a piece of the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper, but I'm not going to use this side. I'm going to use the black and white side, except for I'm not going to keep it black and white. I'm going to bring in a piece of the Designer Series paper that is cut 2 1/4 by 4 inches long. I'll start with my Cajun Craze. Now you can color this in with blends if you want to. I'm just going to use a brush, a blending brush, and I'm going to add in a bunch of, this is crushed curry, kind of giving it a wash all over, and I don't care if there are some spots that are darker. I can make this as dark or as light as I want it. Now that I'm done with the crushed curry, I'm going to bring in a little bit of Cajun Craze. I'm not going to rinse my brush right now. I'm going to a darker color. I'm going to add in some to what would be the maple leaves. Just a little bit darker, make it look a little bit more realistic, give it a little more dimension here. So we've got, maybe that's a little bit lighter, just something like that. So you could leave it black and white, obviously, if you wanted to. I'm choosing not to. Let's go ahead and adhere this to my little treat topper. What you didn't see, because I edited it out, was I had tried to do this before, but I had cut my paper the wrong size. You can see a little bit of glue over here where I missed the mark on that other piece. I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'm going to rub it off. It comes off pretty easily. So now I need to bring my little friend back in. I'm going to pop him up on some dimensionals. Let's try to find the full-size ones. Here we go. Now, see, I was using a scrap that I had played with before, also on camera, so I was trying to avoid getting in the video shot, so I wasn't very accurate. So here we have him right there. And now he just needs to say something. So I have a strip. This is just a scrap piece of crumb cake. And I'm going to cut that probably at 1.5 inches. So it's 1 by 1.5 inches. I think that'll be good. In this stamp set, there is a nuts about you saying, which goes perfectly because I'm going to be including nuts in this treat container. Here's my nuts about you. Let's bring in some linen thread, which is just a fantastic embellishment. You get a lot for not a lot of money, and it's super easy to tie, which makes it one of my favorites, because especially tying on camera, it's so stressful. See, even now I'm just kind of having difficulties because of the pressure of the camera. So here's our little bow, but the bows come out nicely because you can adjust them very easily. Doesn't matter if it's twisted because it's a nice little round thing. I'm gonna trim the end there. We need, I think, a little bit more dimensional here. We'll put a couple at the top. It'll help hold that. And then one at the bottom. And I think we'll put it right up here. Now, honestly, what I should have done, and I'm thinking about that now, is I should have put my treat in here first and showed you how to attach it. I've got some cellophane bags. They are 4x6. They are food safe. I'm gonna open that up. And have you ever tried candy corn? Well, if you haven't, you know, it's a seasonal treat. Some people love it, some people hate it. But for a couple of years now, I have heard, that worked out well. I'm keeping that in the video. I have heard about mixing candy corn with nuts. So it sounds kind of strange to me. However, I tried it and it is super good. Now, it's probably better if you use a funnel and you pre-mix this so it looks all nice in the container. And so I'm not using my hands. In all honesty, I'm eating this after I get done filming the video because it really is good. If you've ever had a payday, it kind of tastes like that. But there we go. We've got some put in there. Probably shouldn't have popped those in my mouth. I'm gonna fold this over just to keep it a little bit more fresh. I'll get the air out first. And this is what I meant by I should have gone on ahead and stapled it together before putting on this piece. But we didn't. So this is what we're gonna do. That is my recommendation though. Staple it in there. Try to get it so it hangs straight. Now, because I didn't do it right the first time, I have to find some way to keep this down. And so I can use a little adhesive. I could use some glue dots. I could use, what could I use? I could use glue dots. I could use sticky strip. I could use just a couple of dimensionals. Let's try that. Now that this glue is dry, let me take my little eraser off. And you can get these at the dollar store. Stampin' Up! Used to sell some beautiful square ones that worked super duper, but I don't sell it anymore. But there you go. There's a nice little treat container, very fallish and very festive. This would also look great around the Thanksgiving table as a nice little favor, as long as no one has nut allergies. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I will see you next Friday.